Another new card, and this time around it's more Resurrect Priest synergy. Maybe not exactly what we wanted to see, but let's talk about it.
Hey, buddy, watch this.
That's right, only one card this time, but still, if you need to see my score in a hurry, hit the quick links description below. Otherwise, let's jump into some detailed discussion of this new card. All right, folks, this one's called Psychopomp. This is the weirdest name for a Hearthstone card I've ever seen. I don't actually know what that means, but he is a 4-mana 3/1 minion for Priest with a battle cry that reads, summon a random friendly minion that died this game. Oh joy, more resurrect effects for Priest, and then also give it Reborn. So we get some interesting new application of the new mechanic, Reborn, which, for a reminder, if you don't remember, the first time a minion dies with Reborn, it's brought back to life, but only with 1 health. So essentially what this means is you get a 3/1 body, you're also going to summon another minion, so that's already 2 minions for 1 card, and then when that minion dies, it's also going to summon another minion. So essentially 3 bodies in a single 4-mana card here, which I actually find rather intriguing. So to be clear, I don't actually think this is really like a big Priest synergy card. This isn't going to work that well for like big style Resurrect decks like you see a big Priest in Wild, because Psychopomp itself is going to suck to Resurrect. You don't want to bring back a lame 3/1. But I do think there are just some interesting on-board applications for a card like this in a more tempo-driven deck, just to get some really sticky minion pressure out there on turn 4. If you think about it, almost like a piloted Shredder in a way, right? Piloted Shredder was so good because it was an aggressively statted minion that left something behind, a big sticky board presence. Psychopomp is going to present just as much pressure as something like piloted Shredder, because you're going to get a 3/1 and, at least another 1/1, if it's any minion, would be already 4/2 in stats, and then that 1/1 is going to come back as another 1/1, so you get a big pile of stuff. And then if you think about upsides of cards like, say, Snip Snap on turn 3, if your Snip Snap dies, and it's the only minion that's died on turn 3, you play a Psychopomp on turn 4, you're going to get a Snip Snap Resurrected, which is already insane, right? That's 3 minions by itself. And then when that Snip Snap dies, it's going to come back to life again with 1 health and then still have another Death Rattle. So you could get something like a total of 7 minions out of a single Psychopomp play on a Snip Snap. And that's, of course, not the only Death Rattle synergy sort of card that might work really nicely with this. The challenge for a card like Psychopomp, right, is if you haven't had something really good put into the pool, it's not going to work very well. If you've got just garbage 1/1s, lackeys, junk cards, it's not going to go very far. So you do need something that's good to bring back multiple times, whether that's sort of an onboard Death Rattle effect. Maybe just stuff like Loot Hoarders would be okay to draw you a ton of cards. So some risk there, but still, I feel like for 4 mana on curve, it's going to feel really good. Will it feel as good, on turn 10 when you're resummoning like Loot Hoarders or Snip Snaps? Probably not as powerful at that point when your opponent has more time to deal with it. But in the right style of deck that is more tempo-oriented, that cares more about early to mid-game pressure, a card like Psychopomp seems like just a big old pile of stats and stickiness. And we've seen in Hearthstone that can work pretty well, if not necessarily in Priest specifically. That could be a challenge, but beyond that, this is the sort of card that would work well in a lot of different classes. Now, I do think there's also some potential combo application for a card like this, or maybe you only kill 1 or 2 select things. Think about like an Archmage Vargoth or a Prophet Velen, and being able to control exactly what you resurrect and giving it Reborn could give you like the sticky Prophet Velen that's hard to deal with, for instance, for your opponent. Maybe that sets up some kind of combo. I don't know exactly what that would look like, but I could see some opportunities for a card like this creating those kinds of scenarios, which just gives it another angle of attack to become a relevant piece of a meta deck. So all in all here, I really do see some potential for this card. I imagine it would actually be better in classes other than Priest, or maybe in the neutral set for a deck that really, really wants those stats. But nonetheless, it's still a workable card in my mind, and could certainly see some degree of play. So let's go ahead and rate this card from 1 to 5 stars. Psychopomp is a 4-star card. Thought about giving this one 3 stars, but at the end of the day, because it has a couple different ways it could work, I think it's gonna get there in some deck down the road. But that said, I'm curious what you guys think about this one. A bit hard to judge unless you think about it in some abstract ways. So share your thoughts below. Tell me how it's gonna work. Tell me why it won't work. I want to hear all of that in the comments. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, Game on.